So now's the moment we've all been waiting for. I want to dive deeper into what you were talking about, how you sold these tickets. So you mentioned general admission, $95 when you announced it about 10 months before the event. I get it that you had so much clout from the past events and so much, discussion about it that when you launched that $95 ticket, I think sales just started coming in and of themselves. It sounds like they just started coming in.
I mean, like we sell like 2,000 tickets in a week, and we try to kind of launch stuff and take it away. So, hey, we're opening a section of general admission seating for $95. Retail price is $295, $395, $495, something like that. We're releasing these section of seats for $95, and so by doing a section of the seats and not the entire section, it gives us the ability to have another lever to pull it on off. Because when they're sold out, they're sold out. If we say it's the entire section and we don't specify that, then it makes it harder to go, they're sold out, and then we come back and we're like, hey, we've got 4,000 more. So move into a specified section, try to get a time on it so that you can say, hey, this section's sold out, timer's expired. As marketing tools, those are really, really great things to be able to leverage deadlines and scarcity.
And that also builds momentum, right? It builds this like social proof momentum because like you start seeing sections that are sold out. So I can definitely see some great power to that. So that 2,000 in a week, let's dissect that. Was that just, did you do a bunch of Facebook ads for it? Did you just do an email blast? Did you just post about it somewhere?
So I think we spent maybe $1 million, like $1.2 or $1.3 million on Facebook throughout the entirety of the promo cycle.
So when you said $10.5 million in cost, does that include the $1.2 million?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, that includes marketing costs. Got it. So you spent about $1.2 million on just Facebook ads.
Yeah, we spent like probably just over $2 million in marketing.
Okay, so and the rest of it, you had said you did local marketing. 800,000 was all like local billboards. Was that correct?
Billboards and TV.
Billboards and TV, but local in that Miami area.
Yeah, and then we sent them to a locals landing page. So again, when you're using traditional media like that, it's you have to assume that people don't know Grant. So it's like, unlike marketing on Facebook to cold traffic, like they don't know Grant. So I can't send them to a page where they don't know Grant and they see some, wonky deal that we're doing to sell out a section of seats. Like if we're moving on a section of VIP seats and we've blacked out every other seating section so we can focus on this one area, and it's a $1,500 seat or a $2,000 seat, the likelihood of somebody cold driving by a billboard or seeing a commercial and then buying a $2,000 seat are very low. So then we had a kind of a gate around Florida so that when people within Florida IP addresses we would assume that they were seeing local media, billboards or targeted local ads, that they would go to a Florida locals landing page that showed them kind of offers on every ticket,
That is cool. And anyone who's listening, I hope you took away what he just said, that they were very intentional about the local demographic and knowing that those people may be coming from a different walk of life, different world, and IP addressing them into a separate sales page so that they would see different offers. That's like the ninja stuff right there. That is awesome. So $1.2 million on Facebook ads, total marketing cost of $2 million. That first 2,000 came mostly through was there anything else? So we got local marketing, we got Facebook, we got your email list that I'm sure you guys were mailing. Did you do any partnerships? Did you bulk move any tickets with someone?
Russell Brunson and Ty Lopez both bought sections of seats for their people. They both have pretty big followings and audiences, and we've done a lot with both Russell and Ty. Russell spoke at every one of the conferences, so they bought sections of seats for their people. Also, Cole Hatter, who runs the Thrive event, he's a friend of the Cardone crew, and he bought 250 seats for his group too. And so we basically approached some people that have audiences and do events, and we just said, hey, hey, this could be a great promo opportunity. We'll sell you like wholesale rates. And then you could offer them in a bundle or whatever. And then we'll promote your event or the thing that you're trying to do. So we leveraged a little bit of that. It's always honestly a bit disappointing when we do that because, people just don't promote. Most people just don't promote other people's stuff.
So the sections end up being empty.
Well, no, like they got people there, right? But I'm just saying it's always a bit disappointing when you try to get people to participate in promotion because they're always really reluctant. So, just no matter what level you play at, like if you're watching and you have a small company, like, dude, even when we go and we want to partner with somebody, you think that, man, if they were showing affiliation with our company, that could provide them with a little bit of lift, I would think. And they just elect not to. So it's just really interesting how social dynamic works behind all this stuff. But anyways, at the end of the day, if it's up to me, it's up to me. So accept responsibility.
That's what Grant said, right? He said, you got to sell these tickets. So Cole bought 250. Between Russell and Ty, how many did they end up taking? Because I got to be honest, I assumed before coming on here, that maybe you just, gave away or wholesaled a lot of tickets to get to 35,000. So I'm trying to figure out like how many total.
Yeah. So the giveaway tickets that we did have were, we gave away 4,000 seats to heroes, veterans. We called it our hero section. So it was veterans, active duty military, police, fire, basically any like public service in that realm. We gave free tickets to teachers, nurses. So anybody that kind of fits in that genre that we call like in the public service area would be considered a hero. We blocked out a section of 4,000 for them. Again, free stuff is not always easy to work with either. So, getting people to redeem tickets, making sure they're going to show up. I mean, we had to promote that we were giving away these free tickets over and over and over again. We had ads, paid advertising to market free tickets. Like, we did it. We did a thing like maybe 2 years ago where Grant was, we gave away $1 million in cash. It was the hardest thing we ever did. I mean, outside of the GrowthCon, it was so hard to give people money. We were doing smaller increments, like $100 to $1,000. It was so hard. People had to do the simplest things and they couldn't do it. Like the simplest little things to just give us their information, where to send the money to. It was so much work. So even if it's free, it still requires work. And I mean, like there were points where I'm like, I'm getting brain damage right now trying to give away a free ticket when I could be spending the same energy on a ticket that we're actually collecting revenue for. But it was a thing, Grant he always wanted to be in the military, never was. He loves military, police, firefighters, all these people that do great work for the communities and never get recognized like they should. So it was a give back for us.
No, that's awesome, man. That's powerful. So the truth is really, I'm going to summarize here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but basically the bulk of your tickets were sold using Facebook, local marketing, your email list, and that's it. It wasn't some ninja magic tricks and the phone. So you had your phone team wheeling and dealing to sell these tickets, not like, hey, we're closing something else, we'll throw in a free ticket, but like actually calling to close these tickets?
So we went through different phases. Obviously my sales team in the back, they're selling $30, $50, $100, $200,000 training contracts to companies. They're not trying to sell a $95 ticket. So it's something that they bring into the conversation. It's not something that they were primarily focused on. Same thing with our what we're calling now our sales support team. It's like a hybrid customer service role because they're actively selling product for us. Their primary function is to handle customer service issues. But when we had certain sections available, our diamond tickets, 13, 14, 15K, a lot of those did not come through Shopify. Those were conversations that were had on the phone with people. But we do have people that check out for $15K. I mean, that's part of having a trustworthy brand. That people were just swiping their card for 15 grand, 30 grand, 2 diamond tickets at a time.
So Jarrod, I'll give you a funny story. You'll appreciate this. A few months back, I don't know if you remember, it's probably last year, you and I had a call. So I called into the office to the reception, and I said, hey, can you connect me to Jarrod? I have a call with him. And the person's like, yeah, absolutely. So are you going to be at GrowthCon? And I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about it. Well, what's there to think about? And I was like, oh God, here we go. I'm going to get sold now. And I told him, I said, I might not be around. I have to wait and see my schedule. Well, why don't we just lock you in on a ticket? Make sure, it's there. So your seat is, sir. And I just started laughing. The guy on the other side is just pausing. I said, brother, if I can come, I'll come. Trust me. I just connect me to Jarrod, please. But I saw that and I was like, you know what? Now that is, you could tell that everything in the company, it was like, the first question was, do you have your ticket? Right? And I was like, that was the driving force behind everything. Pretty powerful stuff, because I think if you're listening to this podcast, if you're watching this, I think you got to take away from the fact that they're smart about how they do stuff. And yes, of course, they had a big brand coming into it. They have customers pouring in from all angles already. But in the end, it comes down to advertising, being intentional, giving it enough time and focusing on it. One of the things that I love what you said, and I want everyone to listen to this and take away from it, and I'm learning something from it, was I love how you repackaged the same ticket. You said this a while ago, and I saw this happening. I actually witnessed you doing this, but it wasn't the same boring message. I see this all the time. People are selling tickets to an event, and for 10 months, it's just like the ticket. But with you, I would see different deals, different combos, different products, different combinations, and you were using that to lead in and back end the ticket, essentially. It was different carrots, is what I would say, to get people in, and that's what kept it very, very interesting, and probably how you were able to spend $1.2 million on Facebook. One last question, Jarrod, before we move on to some other stuff about this. Your Facebook targeting, what were you targeting? Was it just your hot audiences, your warm? Because, I mean, obviously Grant's got a huge Facebook page, Instagram page. Or were you going cold? Were you going out into the world and sucking people into your funnel?
It depends on what creative we were using. Obviously, warm targeting, lookalike audiences. We targeted like interest groups as well. So like we take, the top 30 different influencers or experts in the space, motivational speakers or whatever, and try to create and try to have ad creative that spoke to those particular groups. And we started having, Steve Harvey, Damon John Maxwell, Bethany Frankel, Sarah Blakely. Like if you notice there was definitely an elevation in the people that we had this year over any previous year, because, we went out and we paid people. I mean, we spent money on speakers this year, people that we put on a billboard and they know. And that leads me into this. We were running creative without Grant in it. So like to our own event, we would run an ad set with John Maxwell and Steve Harvey and Bethany Frankel. We would run an ad set with Sarah Blakely, Bethany Frankel, and Anik Cardone. We would run an ad set with Damon John Maxwell, and Steve Harvey. So we know that Grant isn't everything to all people. And so we were trying to reach those different audiences by just saying, hey, look, females that follow Spanx or something. I don't know. But when you take our we weren't going to get any promo from most of our speakers. That's just, again, it's just one of those disappointing things. But yeah, so we took ad sets and we were creating campaigns around the other speakers, right? We were going outside of just Grant, because obviously with a diverse group of speakers, they all have different audiences of their own. They all speak to different things. And so by having that kind of that reach with the audience, we were able to kind of package the campaigns in a way where we thought we could get pretty good coverage across the interest spectrum.
Man, amazing. I got to tell you, the amount of ideas that I've got flowing through my own head. You know, I'm not going to do a 35,000 person event just yet. I'll probably do a little bit smaller first, but that is some powerful stuff. All right, last question about Facebook ads, I swear, and then we'll move on. Did you do these? Because that's a lot of ad sets. That's a lot. Just from what you're explaining, all the different segments, targeting, you got to refresh them every now and then. You know, did you do this internally in-house, or did you use an agency? All in-house?
Yep.
How big is your Facebook team that ran this?
2.
Wow. Were they sleeping at all?
So, I mean, you know, look, like this is part of the benefit of being in an office. You know, a lot of people that run web-based businesses don't have like a brick and mortar physical office. And when you can get everybody in one place and you can have, you know, we're looking at campaigns, we're tweaking things, something's happening over here that has to deal with the Facebook guy. And instead of a phone call or a text message or a Slack message having to go through its delay cycle to get to him, he's hearing it instantly. And so, you know, we're launching creative, getting it approved, watching it, scaling it, killing it because it's not working. So like all that stuff's happening in real time. So there's a lot of intention on it. Again, this goes back to the opportunity cost because it's a complete pivot to like everything is focused on GrowthCon. Oh, by the way, just so you know, this is a number that we pulled before the call. 178 million emails.
178 million emails were sent to promote this promote tickets.
Yeah.
How big is your mailing database that you mail now at Cardone Enterprises?
The active like 600,000.
That's crazy. So wait, 178 million emails over the course of about 11 months to a database that's about 600,000.
Yeah, it's probably the mailing, the group that we actually mail to is probably smaller than that. Probably half that. Like who actively like engages and opens and all that.
And for all of you listening right now saying, I can't do something's not working, I can't get people into a webinar. That's it. That's the point. That's the point. That's like probably the trailer of this episode. 178 flipping million emails.
Yeah, dude. So check this out. So we had when we would go through certain sections, this is a pro tip right here. What, you know, again, this goes back to like I'm a phone sales guy. So we're not afraid to use the phone here. Like we're not ashamed of it. We don't try to get everything to transact through email and Facebook ads. We pick up the phone. When we were pushing on certain emails for certain sections of seating, I basically, what we do is we would assign the team like 4 buckets. So like if there was an abandoned cart, they got called. If there was a click through in the email, they got a call. If there was an open on the email, they got a call. So we would basically create a system where if for not all the seats, but we would move from most interested down with phone calls as we're trying to move through sections of seats. So use the phone, right? Like it's powerful.
Yeah. Look, what I keep taking away, Jarrod, is the intentional marketing. I mean, this is not just you throw an event. I mean, this is like every chunk, every piece, every step of your whole company. How can we make this intentional? Jarrod, I just want to say before we move on to the closing rounds here, I was not expecting this level of detail that you've shared. So I just want to take a minute to appreciate you on behalf of everyone who's listening, Learn Nation, the Fighting Entrepreneur community. This is powerful stuff right here, and it's going to empower a lot of other people who want to dream just as big as you guys did. So thank you very much for doing that.
Thanks for listening to The Fighting Entrepreneur with your host, Anik Singal.